Yeah, it's like a little like emblem. It's like a little.
I discovered
picture.
that today because the other times I've gone to the town website to pull it from there because I didn't think it was a town.
Typically, it's not. So Lisa, we don't have Kim Rada right now, so we don't have a quorum.
Okay,
We can still meet, but
We
there,
can meet and have discussion, we just can't vote on anything.
okay.
So I don't think we really have anything to vote on anyway,
just the minutes.
and we can skip that. But we'll go that route if you don't mind.
No, that's fine.
I'll call the meeting to order at 6:31. Roll call
Chairman Hinckley,
here, present
Leanne Mankey,
Here,
and Christopher Riley.
here. For the record, we do not have a quorum. We will not be voting on anything this evening. Anyone here for public comment?
There's no one on Zoom.
And no one in the room. We will table the approval of the minutes till next month, so we can't vote. I can give an update on the structural assessment that's been ongoing. I think the last time I spoke to you guys, we were looking at different ways to get into the ceiling, non-invasive. We were able to find those, and I believe he got enough measurements to do what he needed to do for that. Today, we did the same thing with the floor. He had to get in from underneath. We had some already access, so he could actually take some measurements of the slab in a few different locations. So he was able to get those today. So it looks like he's mostly finished with the on-site work. So now it's just a matter of producing the report.
is there a lot of work for the facilities to repair if he was able to access in these ways?
No, we had no invasive work.
Oh, not, oh, okay.
Non-invasive, we were able to, and one in like, for the floor slab today, there's a couple spots underneath they could go. They also took out the electrical floor cans where everything plugs in, and he was able to get in that way. And same thing with the ceilings.
There was like
Take out some-
speakers or something.
Yep,
like
they
that.
took out some speakers
Great.
and some other things, so I think he has enough data to produce a report, and in whether it will hold the stacks or not, you know, that's, I think he can point to the report and say, we're not gonna have stacks in here anyway, so that kind of thing, so.
I think the intention, at least in the current concept, is to keep that area reading room, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Does that sound about right, Lisa? You were there.
Yes.
so-
Yes, it does. Yep.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure if with the concern with the slab and everything, whether, you know, the weight there and everything, but if we're not planning on keeping the, you know, like the shelving like we have in all the other areas.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause I think he, you know, he can, so he has a document to be able to produce a report. He was also given the report that was done. Lisa gave it to us, the prior one.
Right.
That they made some assumptions and stuff that he can point to as well and just, you know, extrapolate some data that he may need. So,
The only thing, Eric, that maybe just want to just double check with them is that they have the right date for the building, because I saw references to 1888 still
Right.
in a lot of the documentation.
It's
Right.
So,
1939.
and it's 1939.
Yep. Yep, he's aware we had that discussion on site at one point. So-
Okay, all right.
So that's what I have on that. So once we get the report, I'll certainly push it out to everybody and we'll, you know, we can get it to Sonia and formalize that process to get that moving forward with the grant. Thank you.
Okay.
Next item we had was review of town council funding transfer request. It was discussed at the last council meeting. I believe that Lauren has stated it should be transferred at the next meeting.
It should be approved on next Tuesday, the 27th.
It was 33 and change.
Yeah, it's like
Somewhere around there.
33, a little bit more than that.
Okay. Well, that puts the coffers back above 40, which is good. We can work with not only,
So, you know, the board has some money to work with to get some ideas from the architect on however you guys want to move forward on that.
Okay. And so when it's approved at the next meeting, is that also when it's transferred, or is there some time after that?
No, so after that, Janet will officially make the transfer, but she usually does it within a day.
Okay,
It's,
okay.
It doesn't, yeah, it's not a big lag, so.
Okay.
Next item, we had discussed concept plans, and I don't know what there's a lot to discuss there, except, you know, once you guys get some funding at the board
Well,
side,
that's it.
then you'll have
Yeah.
that discussion with the architect and see how you wanna move to at least come up with, I would suspect, at least one other design.
Well, we reached out to, Chris reached out to the architect and told him that we're kind of on hold till we know what direction. We knew we were gonna have to tweak things. Perhaps reevaluate the current concept to see if we can take a few things into consideration. And we've also been in contact with 2 general contractors for pre-construction, kind of picking their brains, but there's been no contracts in place. So I guess we needed to know how much we had to play with before we could do anything with them. But, the one thing I will say, coming back to it, when you come back to the concept that is there, while it may not end up being exactly what is drawn, what the library board and facilities committee had brought to this body was primarily a concept that includes what we think the library needs now and in the future. So the phasing aspect doesn't necessarily work in most of the conversations we've had, the preliminary discussions. Phasing doesn't work just in the current setup.
Understood.
But in terms of potentially finding another concept that addresses most of the things that are what we consider needs within the concept, we have to really sit down and hammer that out with the architect.
Yeah.
Because again, the construction management team, I mean, they can give you value engineering, but they have to start with a general plan, and that could, I mean, there are some things in the plan that obviously can go back and be revisited that I think they'd be nice, but perhaps we need to go back and look at a green roof and things like that and say, well, what's feasible within the financial reality. But just for the record, and it's escaping me, Lisa, you can tell me, what was the library that just got approved for 39 million?
I think it's Manchester Public.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's not out of line in
Right,
terms of what we're talking about.
Certainly something we could point to at the next presentation. I think if the original presentation that we gave, take in some of their considerations that we discussed with council and some of the things from Joe, just to tweak that for a number, and then maybe come up with another design or options, add-all kind of situation where you can,
The concern that I have.
Man, hold on. Sorry. Sorry.
It's all right. The concern that comes back to me is I understand, I don't want to see us building to a number because that's.
I get that. I do.
And for example, the number's been kind of thrown to me that, maybe, okay, if you got 20 million wouldn't build what we put out what our draw in 2010 was, which was not adequate for what we need now. And it was primarily just an addition to the current building,
Right.
not taking anything down. So, I don't want us to give option 1 is what we need and option 2 will fit the price, but it's not going to meet the needs. So I hesitate for us to put something out there that isn't going to meet needs. That's all. But again, that comes back to working with the architect and seeing
Yeah.
what we can draw.
So you guys come up with.
Yeah, I think that's where the discussions will lie, is that, still looking at what we need. But is there areas that, we can look at? I mean, I think that's the only thing, until we talk with them, I don't think we.
Well, one of the things that is included in the current build is a timber roof, and that does preclude, I mean, it's an expensive, it's a great concept, but it does offer some limitations in terms of future infrastructure, which again, maybe we need to go back and revisit something of a drop ceiling and where we can run things, because we've encountered that on the current library with the brick build. So, I mean, we don't want to just keep making the same mistakes over and over again. So we'll see where we can go with that.
Any other thoughts on that, or we good?
I think we're good. Like Leanne said, I just reached out to them, just kind of let them know timeline and funding areas and everything like that. So they just been, just waiting for us to kind of come back to them. And I guess once it's approved and everything, then they can reach out, back out to them and find out.
Is
What
that
they can
next
do for
week's meeting, Lauren?
The council?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's next Tuesday.
Okay, next Tuesday. Okay.
And
Other than that, there's no public in the room. Is there anyone online?
Have it online?
I have the next meeting on my calendar, and it could be wrong, was June 22nd, is that correct?
June.
Thought it was the 26th and
26th,
Eric
I'm
and I
sorry,
are both
26th.
unable to attend.
Yes.
So 6/26.
6/26, so as long as you guys have a quorum,
We can,
you should be able to meet.
okay.
So if you get a quorum, if VG's here.
Yep.
She should run it. If not, if she's not here and you have a quorum, you just have to nominate somebody from the floor to run, the chair and run the meeting.
Okay.
Is that correct, Lauren? Yeah. So
And
if something changes on the 26th and I can be here, I will, but we have a townwide thing that's gonna be probably happening.
Okay.
So that we both have to attend.
Is there someone to reach out to and for, I'll say, technical issues?
Yeah, so as soon as we know that this meeting is still gonna go on and you guys have a quorum, I'll find somebody in tech or James.
Probably
see if
somebody from
someone else
IT
can
or
help
here.
just pinch hit on running it.
Okay.
And I could probably even start it for you. Cause I'll be in the building,
Okay.
but I just wouldn't be able to like,
Yeah.
and once I start it, I won't be able to do anything else really.
Okay.
And we'll be watching another meeting.
Hopefully by then we'll also have a better idea of what direction we're going into. That's a month from now.
Yeah, because you should, the funding should be in place within 2 weeks, I would assume the latest.
And it's gonna take time once we
Right.
talk to the
Talk to the
architect
architect.
or what they do.
So, and going forward, whatever we can look ahead, and if we're not gonna have anything for July or whatever, we can cancel that meeting and, for the architect to come back, because, however it works out,
Yeah,
Unless
if
there's something-
we need more
something
time to,
critical we need
to
to
get
talk
this stuff
about,
out.
we'll certainly be, but
okay.
otherwise, I'm gonna adjourn the meeting at 6:43.
Bye. Have a nice weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.